Hello and welcome to Onesies, the podcast of one season wonders and blunders. My name is Andrew.
And my name is Emily.
And this week we are talking about Automan episode 10.
11.
Zippers. 11. Oh, there's only two more. And you had such great disappointments from this episode. So yes, Zippers. Guest starring John Vernon. Hacking his way through this. Okay, so you forewarned me. Did we introduce ourselves? We did.
Yeah, we did.
You forewarned me that you don't have three things, so I will start.
Yeah, go. You can go. I have a couple.
You go. You go with your couple.
I'm going to talk about convoluted, because the whole thing was very convoluted. And at the end, I'd like to talk about recasting Automan. I've got some great ideas for recasting.
Okay, my 3 points are going to be, told you Cursor was by, nice to see you again, Roxanne, and lots of Wally window.
That's true. There was a lot of that.
There was a lot of that.
Which made me question, like, when did that Ralph Nader book, Unsafe at Any Speed, come out? That was in the 70s. Why aren't they wearing seatbelts? Why does he keep getting smashed against the window?
People didn't wear seatbelts into the 90s. Like, that was it's a personal freedom thing, man. What, you want them to wear seatbelts? You want them to live? Next, you want them to wear helmets on motorcycles. I don't need the man telling me I don't want to die every time I drive.
That's what the thrill of it. The thrill of it.
The thrill of driving is that you could die at any moment. Okay, so the episode starts with a burglary, but the thief has a key. And this is where there's even some convoluted there, because we get guest star John Vernon threatening some guy, but not having any context for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the break-in with the key where the thief steals the thing, and then they drive off and they go to the club. So our thief works at nightclub Zippers, and it's one of those male dancing places.
It's a fancy, sophisticated male strip club.
Yes, it is. So, and he's the cat burglar, actually.
Yes, that was very funny.
The burglar is does the cat burglar strip, and he comes on, I believe, after Robin Hood. We talked about Robin Hood being in the cast last episode.
Yeah.
So they call the police, and Lieutenant Jack is there, which is not going to make any sense because Lieutenant Jack later on will brag about being homicide.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a brag. I think he's just telling Wally to mind his business, but I don't know.
Well, okay. But then Wally's there for some reason being a jackass, and this is where it's pretty clear that the writing's going to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is some of the worst writing in a long ass time. Like, it's really bad.
Maybe because I don't know if this is the point where Captain Boyd is talking about some madman with a gun holding people hostage. It's like, I would like to see that episode. I think I'd like to see that episode. Why
didn't Automan go save those people?
I don't know.
That's what I was expecting. No, Automan did not go save those people.
It never comes in. It never comes in again.
No.
Boyd doesn't even talk about it anymore. Like, whether it was resolved. I don't know.
We've also lost the cast hanging out together at the end of the episode. Which I miss. Ever since Wally moved to his seaside apartment, he's gotten a lot less friendly with his coworkers. So we find out from the guy who got robbed that there's a microchip in the ring.
Yeah.
So that's going to be important later. So then Automan shows up an hour late to when Wally wanted him to show up. This comes up again because Wally's later an hour late. There's two times in this episode, Wally goes from his apartment to the police station, back home, back to the police station.
Yeah.
Like, it's really,
he seems to be doing a lot of work from home and
yes.
unnecessarily, and then still having to drive to the police station to, I mean, he's not taking phone calls. Obviously, there's not any Zoom or anything like that.
Right.
But it seems a lot of unnecessary driving, a lot of time wasting. Maybe they lost their computer room set or something, because we don't see it this time. He's just in his apartment. Do we?
Yeah.
We don't see it, I don't think.
No, I think we do, because I thought I remembered them
At
putting
the
the blinds down
end,
at one point.
at the end,
Yeah.
we see it
But
for sure.
so yeah, Wally has collated the data and has discovered that 3 of the 25, or maybe Automan collated the data, somebody collated the data, that 3 of the 25 robberies that have been done with keys report having been to the Zippers nightclub.
Yeah.
And so that's too much of a coincidence, so they're going to go check it out.
So important for me to note, I watched this 3 times. It didn't even strike me until today that when he said, "Oh, 3 of the victims visited the same nightclub on the night that the robbery occurred." It didn't, first of all, it doesn't make sense because they're not doing what they do to get the keys and then going to that house that night. The robbers talk about planning it. Oh, the Mercedes, we got to go stake it out, make sure nobody's home, da-da-da-da-da. One, the first 2 times I watched it, I thought that they were, stupidly, I thought that they were tracking the men, but they were actually tracking the wives. Like, it took me 3 times to realize.
And what that means is those women were just back at Zippers.
Yeah.
And they just happened to get robbed that time.
And
the other 22 women whose keys got stolen just happened to not be at Zippers the night of the robbery.
Yeah.
But there were 3 fans who were back.
So also the wife, when she's talking to Jack, says, "Oh, I was out with my bridge club."
Nope.
Completely spaced the fact that she was lying to her husband about being with her bridge club. Presumably he would think they were playing bridge, and instead going to Zippers to watch Robin Hood strip so they could scream and be animals at them. I thought that was funny. Apparently I'm an idiot, but I was just so overwrought with disappointment.
So that's also where Wally explains what male exotic dancers are, and how then Wally says he's got to tell Automan about the birds and the bees. And we've already established at this point that Automan has considered intercourse with Delta Burke and decided it was inappropriate.
And with
it was implied that Singer, it implied he and they did something, but he knows what the birds and the bees are. Instead, we get this really weird, like, how do animals figure into this, Wally?
Yeah, this dumb misunderstanding word play I'm using with finger quotes because there's so
much of that. Yeah.
Ugh.
So much of that. So then Wally goes to the police station where Boyd says there are hostages. Get out of here. Do it yourself. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. So
he goes back home, right?
He goes back home and tells Automan, I'm going to go to or Automan might still be there, but then he's going to go.
That's when Automan's like, I was expecting you an hour ago. And it's like, he just left and came back. Like, what's happening?
Who knows?
And then he says, Automan wants to go. He says, no, you can't go because this is a women only club. So you can't get in. I need a lady to help me get in. So Automan zaps up Roxanne's phone number, and Roxanne seems surprised that Wally wants to take her to Zippers, and they show up at Zippers, I guess. In the meantime, Automan has made the decision himself that he's going to go and investigate, and Cursor, he calls up Cursor to get him in a new outfit, something less flashy. And I think it's just like a suit, but it's like a tweed jacket instead of a actual tuxedo style. He's so weird. His wardrobe sucks. But then there's a funny, finger quotes, funny scene where Cursor's like, I'm going with you, in his beep bop boop voice. The one thing I did have written down is that, they're communicating, Cursor with his beep bops and Automan with English language. And then for some reason, Cursor feels like he needs to animate a zipper to use a little bit of that special effects budget. But he could have just said, you're going to Zippers, I know you are. And I want to come too, because
he's just so excited. Yeah, Cursor's by.
Yeah.
Cursor is into male exotic dancers. But then, so Wally had called Roxanne during the day, but then when they get to Zippers, it's nighttime.
Yeah.
So it's another one of those episodes. And right away, Automan sees one of the valets stealing a key and follows him inside where the guy's making a copy of the key. And then while he's in the hallway, the manager of Zippers sees him.
Yeah. Can we go back really quickly? Oh God, that was so gross.
Sure.
Let's go back really quickly. So he gets the key to the Mercedes driver's house. How does he know where this Mercedes driver lives? Because he's talking about, she lives in Brentwood. Oh, that's a really nice neighborhood. Blah, 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 blah. We'll go check it out and see if there's a time when there's nobody there. How do they get that information where the person lives? They just have a key. They have a set of keys because they are valets. How do they associate that with? Okay. So this is more convoluted nonsense. It drives me crazy about this episode. But
not even going to be important to the main plot.
And also, I know. And also, Automan zips in, and the valet is not even like, hey, dude, you know that this is a club for women, right? Like, you're not going to be able to get in the front door. There's no conversation like that at all.
No, because he's like, oh, you're Chuck Wagner. You clearly dance. Because Chuck Wagner clearly dances. Okay. So he also parks the car in a way too small spot that has no trouble getting out of the car, I noticed. Yeah. So yes, so he goes inside, sees the quick copies. Lady says, hey, gorgeous. And then when he walks away, and he's going to go try out for something, when he walks away, she's just like munching on that ass. Like, this is like Emily. I was just like, it's like Emily.
It's not like Emily. I might sit back and appreciate it, but I'm not going to make disgusting noises, okay?
So Automan goes into the dressing room where some other dude is talking about fulfilling his fantasy of 100 screaming women. And he asks what Automan's gimmick is, and he says electricity. But then we cut to the street where Wally and Roxanne are going in. And Wally's like, you would never go to a place like this, would you, Roxanne? This exploitation of men is disgusting. And then when he gets to the door, the bouncer's like, nice to see you again, Roxanne. And she's just like, what can I say? I like the boys.
So at this point, I was expecting Wally to be like incredibly possessive because his girl is out looking at hunks instead of his Weasley little butt. But no, he's just sort of like surprised that she's been there before and accepts her reasoning. I've been here maybe once. Whatever. So she goes in, somehow magics herself into like behind the scenes and opens a door and lets Wally in the back way. But she notices Otto the electrician dancing with a bunch of
the high voltage electrician.
And presumably Cursor made that outfit, but there's no explanation to where he gets this not jumper. I keep thinking the ladies' term for like a jumpsuit, but it is like a proper electrician's jumpsuit with glow in the dark electric bolts on it. It's really stupid. Yeah. And he's thrusting himself towards screaming women, and oh God, it was so gross. Ugh.
So my notes for this scene. Okay, she's like, You better brace yourself, Wally.
Yeah.
And so then my notes for this are Chuck's doing a lot of his own dancing. He's not half bad, because I bet Chuck worked his way through acting school doing some dancing. Like, he does most of the dancing.
Yeah,
I would say 87% of it is Chuck Wagner.
There's some long shots where it's clearly not him, but yeah, it's him.
Yeah,
I'm sure that he went and he learned how to dance specifically to do this episode and the disco episode, which he did all of his dancing in that one too, right?
Yeah.
No.
Well, except the inserts.
Yeah.
The inserts he certainly did not. Okay, so some of the things yelled at him are charge up my batteries, Otto, marry me, which raises a whole big question about how male strip clubs are still patriarchal, right? Like, it's fucked up. There's an old lady who says, take my check, it's good.
Yeah. And then there's a take it off and turn me on.
Okay, yes. So I didn't take notes on this, but yes, he strips down to his Automan outfit, and all the women are happier to see that than they are to see Beans and Franks. Like, that is the hottest thing.
They didn't see Beans and Franks with Robin Hood or the cat burglar either.
Well, they might have put it back on. We didn't get to see. It's a kid's show after all, Emily.
Yeah.
It's a kid show. But then there's a thing where Wally's like, I can't watch, but Roxanne can watch. She compliments Otto when he gets off stage, which is like the first time she's ever said anything nice to him since the pilot. Some lady shows up and gives him her room key.
And there's another stupid misunderstanding. How is she gonna get in her room? Brr. It's like,
it's so. This is the episode for the 8-year-old boys and their moms. So it's like, Mom, how's she gonna get into her own room? And she's like, and so mom turns to her 1983. Mom turns to her son. And it's like, she's gonna fuck Automan, little Jimmy. That's what. You should be more like Automan. Mommy's friend. Like, it's gross.
It's gross. It's pretty gross.
So then Roxanne leaves.
She takes Wally's car, which I thought was, again, their relationship isn't quite explained very well, but I think that either they're very, very good friends or they're fucking. But I thought that was an interesting little addition.
So Wally gets a ride with Automan and whines and bitches about how Automan's disrupting his investigation.
Yeah.
And then Automan's like, well, actually, I cracked the case already.
Yeah, I already know.
I know everything. I was just dancing for fun. And here's all the money I made.
Yeah. By the way, here's $350 that I made dancing tonight. Hey, okay. It's a living.
And then there's... Yeah, and my note for that is they're having a couple fight. Like, such a bad script. So now they start following the male strippers.
Which, by the way, I just looked up the value. $350 in 1983. This was probably 1984, but whatever. Is about $1,000 today. That's a lot of money that he made. Sorry.
Is it? How much would you give Chuck Wagner at the club?
I wouldn't give him. I would never go to a club like that. You know that, right?
You'd Venmo him. I know. It's fine. It's fine. You just Venmo him. I get it. He's Automan. Like, why would you give him cash? That's just stupid.
Oh, God.
And your Venmo note would be, do not tip out Wally.
Yeah, Wally's not your pimp.
Okay, so we get this... I don't know, not as bad as usual car chase thing where they follow the robbers to the house and they think Wally gets out and he's like, stop, police. And they don't stop, they drive away.
Yeah.
So he shoots at their car. So he's discharging his firearm in the middle of Brentwood, which I can't imagine is cool for a, He probably gets shot by an off-duty cop double dipping.
Yeah.
So this is actually interesting though, because then the next car chase, which is stupid and has like silly lines, Automan actually uses the car's speed to zoom ahead of them and predict where they're going while Wally bitches that he's missing them and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and hitting the window at every turn. But basically, Automan blocks them at various intersections and forces them to crash into a police car at police headquarters,
Yeah.
which is definitely not the police headquarters.
Yeah.
But Wally busts them, gets a compliment from the captain, but they did not find the ring. So we are now done basically with the zippers plot. So Emily's heart broke a little bit here when she realized there ain't no real Chuck. No.
I got nothing. Emily's heart was broken when he stripped down to his auto suit. And I was done with the episode.
Club like that.
I was done with the episode. No. Tastefully done. I can appreciate a bare chest.
Tastefully done while he's
Instagram
baby oil.
Instagram pictures. I'm down with a strip club where women are frothing at the mouth, or men frothing at the mouth, shouting out gross things. I'm not down for that.
Okay.
Speaking of, we were driving the other day. It was like hunk time. It was like hunk o'clock. There were so many shirtless hunks just wandering around West Hollywood, and it was fun. Anyway, sorry. It happens every once in a while. Luckily, my husband was driving.
Thank goodness. You were hanging out the window like you're
I wasn't. I was making jokes about hunks.
Okay, so we've established that the ring is not in their covered stolen goods. Then we find out that the guy who got robbed, whose name is some Stanton, I think.
Again? I think there was a Stanton in one of the first episodes.
But what's his name? John Vernon's character is Mr. Rainier, and when they call his house, one of the thugs answers the phone, Mr. Rainier's residence, which was funny. And then there's something about how Captain Boyd is out in the field, so nobody can talk to Captain Boyd. Oh, yeah. Mr. Stanton's shitty to Wally, and he wants to talk to Captain Boyd, but he can't talk to the manager because Captain Boyd's out in the field, which has got to be code for out getting drunk. But then the burglars are going to make bail tonight, and Mr. Stanton's going to confront them and ask where the ring is. But then John Vernon's like, you know what? Let's cut out the middleman, kill that dude. You talk to the burglars. And then we have Mr. Stanton calling Wally. This is some of your convoluted. Telling him to come out to the house because my life is in danger.
Yes.
Hangs up the phone. John Vernon's thugs come in and kill him. Commercial break. Lieutenant Jack and Wally. It's not a murder yet because they made it seem like it was a accidental drowning. Wally's sure that it's the ring, and he says it's a feeling, Lieutenant Jack. And Lieutenant Jack says, you leave those hunches to homicide, Wally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple of things about this ring. We, the viewers, know that there is a microchip in this ring. At this point, with Stanton dead, the only other people who know are the other bad guys. The Rainier and his thugs are the only other ones who know that this microchip is in this ring. Nobody else knows about the microchip. Wally doesn't know, Automan doesn't know, Roxanne, Jack, Boyd. Nobody else knows. And so this odd attachment to this ring, which Stanton says it's like of sentimental value, right? He's trying to hide the fact. Like, nobody knows why this ring is so important yet, but they're still searching for it. I just wanted to make that clear that we know as the viewers because we've heard Stanton talking about it, but nobody else. I don't even think the wife knows. Nobody else knows about this microchip.
The wife hasn't been back, has she?
No, she hasn't.
No. She's at the club. What's up?
Yeah, you got to celebrate your husband's death somehow.
Back at Zippers. So Wally and Automan talk about how Stanton worked at a computer company and there's this elaborate computer system, and they're going to have to go break in because not even Automan can call them up on their fucking, I can't remember the name, who made modems in the 80s. Like, they can't call them up. So
Yeah.
they have to drive out there. Automan puts on a really gross looking sweater, more Wally window, silly black security guard, which is never a good look for Automan, which is a very white show for LA.
Yeah.
But then after we establish there's a silly security guard they get past, there's a robot there.
For no
And
reason.
it's for no reason other than for Automan to talk to it. It starts following them. Wally talks shit about the robot, about how machines don't have feelings. And I'm just like, wow, dude.
And Automan gets pissed off at him and says, "Hey, that's my friend. Look, you making him feel bad." Like, there's no reason for this. It's so stupid. But except the robot does come into play later. Yes,
the robot is going to cause a diversion.
Yeah.
But now they have to go see the Delilah 100. It is an experimental prototype, and there's no way Automan can get in. And thank goodness Delilah talks to him.
Yeah, and Delilah looks a lot like the control console on a TARDIS. She's big, she's kind of round. She looks like on a TARDIS. Yeah. I thought it was stupid, but whatever. It has the information that they need to know why, to know what they're looking for. Again, it's convoluted and I don't know how they got there, but they discover, oh yeah, we need to talk about how he penetrates his memory.
We need to talk about that. The Delilah 100, because Automan already said something weird about her name. It's like her name's Delilah and she earned it or something like that. Like,
I don't understand that. I thought that was a nerd joke that I just didn't get.
Now it's some fucking gross fucking man coding rape culture fucking grossness. I don't know. Like, it's just gross. But then Automan can't hack it. And so she says, why don't you give up, Automan? You'll never penetrate my memory. And so Automan decides he's going to penetrate that memory. So he's going to have to break in, and then he's going to have to go into the computer.
He merges with the computer, but it's essentially him walking behind it. Really bad special effect.
We don't get to see anything, except Delilah sets off the alarms, which gets the security guards looking for them. But then the robot starts dancing to divert the security guards. And then you have to think about the fact that the robot had a guy in that suit doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once Automan gets out of Delilah, he can't merge with Wally because Delilah drained him of his precious bodily fluids, or whatever you call them.
Sorry, that was really loud. You got me with the Doctor Strangelove reference. Sorry.
This is where he says something about drained his energies or something. It really comes off.
Yeah.
So they find out that the microchip has the witness protection database on it. And so then they go to one of the robbers' houses, and Automan breaks in, and they go inside to wait for the guy to get home from being bailed out of jail. So Wally, a police officer, has broken into this guy's apartment and is lying in wait to ambush him.
Yeah.
And because it's Automan,
it's okay.
I was going to say even the perpetrators are white.
So, yeah.
But then, even better, Jack calls Wally at the apartment.
As if he knows that Wally's there.
No,
that was so weird.
The other thing is, no, he's calling. What if he's calling for the robber? He's like, "Hi, robber. Where's that ring at?"
That was so weird.
So, we're at the apartment. the guy comes in. Okay, this is where my notes just go to shit. But
Yes.
basically,
The bad thugs break in and think
yes.
that Wally is Gary, one of the robbers.
And
And
Automan is left to recharge because
yes.
Delilah has drained him so much. Um,
That scene in when they're still in the like leaving the computer area where they try to merge and they just bump into each other. I thought that was
yeah.
a hilarious, unintentional comedic scene. They could have made it so much funnier, but it's not a show where you can actually do funny things.
Anything's actually funny. So all right, so they break in. Okay, so the John Vernon's guys come in. They see Wally. They think Wally's the robber. Wally says he's the robber, but he wants to make a deal. They've already killed the other robber at this point, the other guy who got out on bail. So one guy's going to take Wally to John Vernon. The other guy's going to wait there. Automan. No, Automan shows up after the real Gary shows up, right? And we find out that the ring is at the club, but then the victor and Automan is like listening in. He's not confronting them yet. The thug calls John Vernon and tells him that Wally's not really he's not the right guy. So Wally's in trouble, but then he's like, that dude might know where the ring is, but I know where the microchip is. So they all go to the club where does Automan dance again?
Yes.
Maybe. Yes.
I think he does, and I don't remember why. I don't think there's a purpose for it. I think he's just the ladies want it, and he's willing to meet their needs.
He's got to put that. He's got to put that experience to use. Eventually, John Vernon gets zapped, and they get the microchip, and everything is happy at the end. Like it's all resolved. Like I don't care. Like
the most convoluted thing to me is, as I said before, nobody knows what's in the ring. So why? I mean, it's all coincidental. These robbers just happen to go to this woman's house. They steal all this stuff. One of the things they steal is this ring that has the microchip in it. Okay. They don't realize that the microchip is in it. So why did they then take this ring and hide it from all of the rest of the stuff? They don't know its value. I mean, maybe somebody just liked it, but why not just wear it? Why not just, I don't know, sell it if it's like looks expensive? I mean, it's a 1983 like men's pinky ring. It doesn't look whatever. So like it's so convoluted to me. It would make more sense if Vernon's guys stole the ring so they could have the microchip and get rid of Stanton so they don't have to pay him for his involvement in whatever. Like it would make so much more sense. They didn't need the stripper thing, except they needed something goofy for Chuck Wagner to do. It's so weird. But the end scene, I don't know if you want to skip ahead to the end. You seem to forget.
Kind of are. What else is it?
So the end, they solve everything. The crime is solved, and then they're meeting in the computer room. And
yes, no, I've got notes on that.
Yeah. That's where I was going.
Okay, so Wally goes up to Automan and is like, I just got a call from that lady at Zipper. She says anytime baby wants a job, you can come back. And I had to lie to her and say you were gone because they're rioting for Automan there. And I'm just like, wow, Wally's being a dick here. But then Roxanne comes in.
Roxanne,
basically like
Roxanne, she has the cutest, most like sort of like shifty look on her face when she's like, you can't leave those ladies at Zippers waiting. And she kind of like moves her eyes around a little bit. It's so cute. So now Roxanne is pimping out Automan because she sees his true potential as a crime fighter and stripper
and male escort. Because, I mean, there's no way Automan's going back and not going to room 308. Just saying. Just saying.
So one thing I noticed on this, Roxanne looks very much like a young Kylie Minogue. Forgive me. I saw it and I was like, in her little red dress and her little poofy hair, I was like, oh, she looks like Kylie when she's doing her weird eye shift thing. But from this episode and recent Instagram / Twitter things happening in my life, I thought Lee Pace would be a fantastic actor to play Automan. First of all, he's taller. Second of all, he's super hunky. That's it. I mean, that's it, really. He would be great. He's got the chesties, allegedly. I don't know. I'm obsessed with Lee Pace. Put that in the description. Don't put the Emily's obsessed with Lee Pace, but I just want him to like Google and then find our podcast.
See his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then fall in love with me.
Okay.
And take me away.
Special Lee Pace appreciation episode. Okay. That tracks because there's not much else to appreciate. We didn't even get Kung Fu Wally this episode.
No,
right?
we didn't even get Kung Fu Wally. No.
We don't get Kung Fu Wally. We don't get Lieutenant Jack and Captain Boyd being too old for this shit. It is just a long, crappy episode.
The little bit of Jack that there is good because he's being sort of, I don't know, he's out acting the rest of the group. Again, I feel like he's just like, I'm just going to go in and have a good time. I'm going to have a good time with this, with the 5 seconds I'm on screen. But I guess that's all for this episode, unless you have anything else.
Sadly, no. Sadly, there's no Auto Moose Knuckle in this episode.
So the next episode 12, is called Death by Design. Friend of Jack's, another cop, is killed while working with him. They think that their killer is a professional hitman. Wally comes up with a plan to get the man to turn the ones who hired him in by planting stories about other criminals. Again, it sounds very convoluted. It's a full paragraph description. But it sounds like there's a lot of Jack, so that's cool.
Any guest stars?
Let's see. Probably none that I've heard of. Let's see who's on top. Cursor, John Erickson, I don't recognize. Anne Lockhart,
Nope.
I don't recognize. Luke Askew, which is a great name. Lance Legault, David Spielberg, J.D. Hall. I've never heard of any of these people. They don't look familiar. They don't sound familiar. It looks like some guy from F Troop. I don't know.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
Bad cast, maybe better writing this time.
Hopefully.
Maybe. More Jack anyway, it sounds like. I like Captain Jack, so I'll take it.
It'd be interesting to know if they knew they were done at this point. Because this one really seemed like they were just hacking through. Okay, so Zippers, Emily's greatest disappointment.
It's a great name for a strip club, though. For a male strip club.
Well,
I like that.
Get your papers of incorporation going there.
It'll be my own escort agency. Zippers. Ugh. It'd be better if it was called Tearaways. I think that would be better. Tearaways. That's mine. Yeah. Copyright Emily Reeve. Okay. Well, thank you for listening, everybody.
Yes. We'll let you know how Emily's business is doing next week.
Bye-bye.